he says to me, "Why are you in this sport?" And I said, "Because I thought you wanted me to be here." I'm going to cry. And it was at that point that my dad was like, "Come here." So he, pats me to sit down beside him. He goes, "Baby, I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do." And I said, "Okay, I want to do the teen program. I still want to do it. I just don't want to be competitive." And we went for Monster Mud Pie at Red Robin after that.
Okay.
And we talked about it. And I believe that was the first time that I used my voice and me being honest and true to my own feelings. And it opened up this door of me being able to voice myself, I feel, at a very young age.
Everyone's busy, so I'd love to just start a moment by just taking a breath with you and just clearing. So just, in through the nose. Letting go of everything before this point. Just focusing on grounding ourselves. Bringing in all the wisdom and positivity. And allowing all the downloads to come through for our sisters. Welcome.
That was beautiful. My goodness. I've been on a couple of podcasts and I've never, ever had somebody ground me beforehand. And that was very special.
Thank you. It's just I think it's really important to feel aligned, especially that as we sit here, it's more than just a podcast. It's information, it's guidance, it's something that can really change someone's life, I think.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Even a few seconds can make a really big difference. And I think we met a few years ago. I was at Lorna Jane, and you came in to look at our line. And I was like, "Who is this woman? She's really cool." You had a upbeat energy to you. And so it made me really curious, right? Who is Jen? What does she do? What's Oxygen? And obviously I've seen Oxygen Yoga as I'm driving, as I'm walking by, and you're the CEO and founder of Oxygen Yoga and Fitness, global franchise. I think you have over 100 locations now.
We're just shy of 200 now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, 200 sold. We've got about 120 open. So there's
that's fantastic.
A lot of movement happening within this next year.
So there's a lot upcoming, yeah.
Yes.
When I see you online, I see a lot of positivity, this upbeat energy, this, it has like a domino effect, right? When you watch something, it makes you happy, right? It makes you feel motivated. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you today is I feel like, we see a lot of stuff online, but we may not know like what's underneath all that, like what's deep within that, right? And so I know for you, like fitness has been part of your life since you were like a really young girl, right?
Yes. I was a gymnast growing up. My father was my gymnastics coach, and I did gymnastics until I was probably 14 years old. And then I decided to go into dance, which was really where I was kind of more passionate about. And so I've always been active growing up.
Was that something for you that you think really gave you the strength and courage to be who you are today? Do you think it gave you those values?
It's funny that you asked that. So I think at 14, I learned to have my voice. I can tell you the story what happened. So I was in gymnastics, and I believe I was doing it for my dad, not for myself. And there was one day I was on the balance beam, and I'm standing there, and I was to do a front walkover, front handspring. And I just stood there and I was being stubborn. I did not want to do it that day for some strange reason. Regardless, my dad was sitting on this vault runway, like right in front of the beams. And he says to me, "Why are you in this sport?" And I said, "Because I thought you wanted me to be here." I'm going to cry. And it was at that point that my dad was like, "Come here." So he, pats me to sit down beside him. He goes, "Baby, I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do." And I said, "Okay, I want to do the teen program. I still want to do it. I just don't want to be competitive." And we went for Monster Mud Pie at Red Robin after that.
Okay.
And we talked about it. And I believe that was the first time that I used my voice and me being honest and true to my own feelings. And it opened up this door of me being able to voice myself, I feel, at a very young age.
That's really beautiful because I feel like sometimes we're so pressured by this vision our parents have for us, right? Or this path they've already laid out. I'm sure before we were even born, right? They sort of have these expectations for their children. And I know for you, you're a mom, you have 3 wonderful children. And is that something that you've instilled in them that, hey, I want you to have a voice. It's not always what I want you to do. It's what you want to do. Is that something that you've taught them as well?
I've tried my best to teach them, like, if you can see it, you can do it. Visualization and setting goals for themselves and talking about it. I mean, my daughter, she was going to UBC. She was in her 3rd year, going into her 4th year, and she was working for me part-time. And Morgan says, Mom, I'm actually feeling that I'm learning a lot more working in the company than going to school. I'd like to take a break and work full-time. And she goes, "I'm still going to finish off my education. I'll pay for it on my own." And I mean, at that point, I was like, good for you. I'm so proud of you. You've grown so much as an individual. She was living on her own. She was living on campus, making new friends in this brand new environment. And with the life skills that she learned, not only the educational piece, but the life skills was priceless. And she's, evolving into this woman who she does speak her mind. And sometimes, of course, we're in business together now. And sometimes we butt heads, and it's about learning how to communicate and always circling back and understanding, yes, I'm your mother, but I'm your business partner too. So we need to be respectful in the way that we communicate, not only because it affects the environment for other people within, the surrounding areas, but just us. Like I'm mom first, always.
Of course, yeah. I think it's wonderful that you have that relationship, right? So you've been able to pass down what you've learned, and they're still able to go out into the real world and have lived experiences, right?
Correct.
I think it's so amazing when young people can learn to be decisive. I always say no decision is worse than no decision at all.
Exactly.
Right? So whether it's good or bad, quote unquote, at least you made a decision, you made a choice, right?
For sure.
Because I think being idle, being stuck doesn't necessarily serve you. So the fact that she made a decision, Mom, I want to take some time away.
Yeah.
It's very brave.
I agree. And speaking, just on making decisions and this, that, the next thing is my son Braden was also working for the company. And then Keenan, he's in plumbing, but he wants to open his own plumbing business. And all of the kids, I mean, they've lived and breathed oxygen, their entire lives, basically. And they're very passionate about it. My kids are all very into their health and their fitness and their wellness. And we actually just recently opened a location, the 4 of us together.
In Yaletown, right?
In Yaletown, yes. So that's been an amazing journey. And I mean, it's been a lot of learning for myself as well. I mean, working with your children and working with your colleagues, there is a difference.
Completely different.
And it's completely different how you communicate, and we all have to have respectful boundaries and, demonstrate that. So it's been it's been a bit of a, an up and down journey, but it's been amazing. We've learned, I think, how to communicate more effectively and better and respect each other's boundaries. So it's just added another layer to our family dynamic.
Do you think you give them more accountability or less?
I think I'm probably harder on them.
Yes.
Just because I want the best for them.
You want the best
and
for
I know
them.
they're capable of it. And, I try to lead by example. I've honestly, in the past, I'm going to say 8 months, I've been working 10-hour days. I'm working longer and not saying harder, but longer days now than I have in the past 10 years. But I'm loving it because, one, I do get to, show and lead into what expectations have to be in order to be successful, in order to operate a location, but also just to show them, I'm not going to ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And I think that's always been part of my mindset. I will do anything that I'm going to ask somebody else to do. And I think that's just respectful and treating people like equals.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we are all unequal. I believe that we are equal, whether you are, come from a different country, you speak a different language. I think that's a big part of leadership that is not discussed. I think it makes a strong leader. I've been taught that from my previous mentors that, we had a concept in our company called pick up the poop.
Oh.
Right. And so whether you're the janitor or you're the manager or you're the associate, that everyone, we're equally responsible. If something happens, you see it, you pick it up.
Yep.
Right. I mean, the poop is just a metaphor.
I think it's cute though.
Right. But it's to show that we're all equal. We're all on the same playing field. And whether you're the CEO or you're, like I said, the janitor, we're all here to do the same job. We all have the same mission. And I think that's really respectful that, you have a similar outlook. Obviously you've been in fitness and wellness for so many years now, but what was that sort of like bridge for you? I know you had your boot camp business. I mean, this was before Oxygen, right? But what made you really pivot towards, I want to teach, I want to help people. This is my purpose. Was there an aha moment or you just kind of landed there?
No, actually, going back to my dad, ironically enough, Wednesdays was our date day. Okay. And my dad was a bodybuilder. He was totally into his fitness and just very athletic. And on Wednesdays, we would go and we would work out together. He'd be like, come on, Jen, go. And I'd be, oh my gosh. So, we're training at a gym and he's training me. But I think that's where I learned to love the fitness. Maybe it was part because it was that special time with my dad, but also just the benefits of that. Then at 19 years old, I was in a very bad car accident. I was pronounced dead on arrival.
Oh, dear.
And it was at that point that I, had to use my physical ability. I used walking. I used lightweight training, everything to get myself back into order. And that was part of my journey where the health and fitness became a part of my rehabilitation that I wanted to share with others. And I mean, when I started Cardio Core Boot Camp, I started that actually after I had Morgan and Keenan, the twins. So I'm like, okay, no better way to get back into shape by starting a fitness business. I have to show up, right? So started this boot camp business in Pitt Meadows. Really I put ads in the newspaper before I even got a business license and all of these things. And I learned by like osmosis and just kind of going along and took the journey as an entrepreneur thinking I saw something. I knew what I wanted to do. I just needed to find the right people to help me, get to those different destinations.
Of course.
And I did just that. And started this boot camp. We were training 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And it was at 6 in the morning. So it didn't really interfere with the kids because by the time I got home, they were, just getting out of bed.
Getting up for school.
And I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and all ready for them. I could take them to school. And I had the rest of, my day to do, other
Whatever
things
you
with.
needed to
Exactly,
do, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it worked for your schedule, and I guess just to be there for the kids at that time, right?
Yes.
It's like flexibility, and I think that's why I see a lot of young moms starting businesses. I see online, maybe it's a social media, digital media, clothing brands. I see a lot of, or teaching, maybe yoga or something. I see a lot of moms starting businesses for the flexibility, right?
I was just going to say.
It gives them that outlet to manage their time, maybe have the right support. I'm not sure. But it just seems like something, they can actually spend more time with their kids.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. So, okay, fast forward, this business is doing great. So 2 years down, the pipe here. And I should mention, I married my high school sweetheart, Brian. And we have 3 beautiful children together. But I think at 30, we just weren't aligned with our vision on where we wanted to go. We loved each other, but there was that we weren't in love with one another. We were more like best buddies, right? But still, as best buddies, we still didn't have the same vision for what we were going to do. I remember saying to Brian one day, we're sitting on the couch. He's sitting on the couch, lying down on the couch, and I had, we had those big oversized chairs.
Yeah.
And I was sitting cross-legged, and I said, where do you want to be 20 years from now? And he took a sip of his beer and he said, right here.
Oh, I knew what you were going to say.
And I was like, I'm like, you know what? I love you, but I don't think we're on the same track. I want to do this and I want to do that. And, we had a very amicable, split up, and we had 2 houses. He took one house, I took the other house. I tried to keep things as normal. He took the cat, Phoebe, and, so it was something at his house, and we, divided our time with the kids equally. And it was really hard on me, not like I revolved my life around my kids.
Of course.
Right. And the business. So we started off 3.5 days and 3.5 days. And during this 3.5 days, I didn't know what to do with myself. So it was this point I took a deeper dive into my business because I wanted to occupy myself with something that filled my bucket. And that was helping out other people, making people feel good, getting that positive recognition. Like, we love coming to class, Jen. And then I started getting interest from others saying, I would love to do this, elsewhere. And part of those people were my family. My family wanted to invest in
your
something
own circle.
that I started. And that was really, really special to me. So when my children were away with Brian, I buried my nose in work because it filled my bucket. And then that business ended up growing to 59 locations.
Across Canada, right?
We were only in 3 provinces.
Oh, 3 provinces.
Yeah,
Okay.
So BC, Alberta, and Ontario. And it was in 2009 that we ended up selling. So what transpired is we had a huge uptick, and then we plateaued for a bit, and then we watched it start to go down. And my business partner at the time was going through, some problems with her significant other, and she asked if I wanted to purchase this on my own. And as a single mom with 3 kids, I didn't have the capacity to do it. So we chose collectively to sell it. And then, took a little hiatus for a bit, golfed a lot. And then I went back.
Had some breathing room.
Yeah, I did. And then I went back. I worked part-time at the school district, which I did prior to having the kids as well. And then, yeah.
So in that moment where first off, it's very brave for you to even go to, your partner and just say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, right? Because I'm sure there's tons of women that just sit there. They don't use their voice, right? Which obviously you were encouraged to at a young age, right?
Yes.
So very grateful for that. I see a lot of women really at any age, there's this silence there of not speaking up. And whether it's relationship or it's, romantic, non-romantic, but especially romantic, like staying there for the greater good for some reason, right? Even if you don't have kids, right? It's this pressure, it's this expectation of that's the right thing to do, right? So, I just think it's incredible that you were actually able to go to your husband at the time and say those things, because you almost saved yourself. You saved yourself essentially of a life that you may not enjoy or love as much as you do now.
You know what? And it's not to say I wasn't scared and I wasn't sad and it didn't break my heart. I mean, of course, I thought Brian and I would be together forever, right? But we just weren't on the same path. And I really wanted my kids, to see what a healthy and happy relationship looked like. And
that's really important.
that was something that was very important to me. I mean, it gave me a chance to really just be the best version of myself to my kids. And that's what I tried to do.
I feel like it's sort of like, what do you call that? Sliding doors, if you will, right? How one big decision can really impact your life and the people around you, right? And so how did you manage, you're going through this breakup or ending a chapter. Obviously, you're still connected through your children, right?
Yes.
How does one even navigate that in terms of, okay, I'm a mom, I have 3 children, I'm building a business. Like, how did you get yourself through that? Like, what did you do? Was it conversations with your friends? Was it getting support?
My family
was it?
Yeah, my family was very supportive. My friends were very supportive. I mean, right away, I had to hire on somebody to help me nanny my kids in the mornings when I was doing classes. But there was things that I had to do in order to make sure I was somewhat sane, And I think a lot of it was just trusting within myself, come hell or high water, I was going to make it work. And if I didn't, I had thoughts in my head, well, what can I do, to subsidize? Because Brian, we didn't have child support or anything. We split the kids 50-50, and I didn't ask for anything. He didn't ask for anything. So it was a means of just, I've got to, jump feet first, and I can't sink, I better swim.
Yeah.
So
there's no other option.
And I wanted to demonstrate to my kids, if you set your mind to something and you say you're going to do something, follow through, do it. Like it's just really, really important to really don't give up, just try. Maybe you need to try a different way. And I would have open discussions with my kids about feelings and, failures. But when you fail, you get to learn. And if you can have that mindset of, every time I fail, I actually get a chance to learn and do it better next time and improve. So I'm a lot of that kind of rah-rah, motivating my kids to, push yourself a little harder. And maybe that I put too much pressure on them. I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe I did, but it's developed them to be strong, caring, loving individuals. I mean, I love the fact that I don't tell my kids to say, I love you. They say that. They do. Yeah. And the 3 of them, they're all living together. Well, actually, Morgan and Braden are living together, and Keenan is moving back in with them next
so
month.
Nice.
So the 3 of them are all living together, working together. It's
really special.
It is special.
It's not often that you see that. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm going to the place where they're living to decorate the Christmas tree. How does that work?
You've been outnumbered
On
now.
Sunday, I'm going there to decorate the Christmas tree. But
That's
I love
sweet.
it. Yes.
I mean, it must be so satisfying for you, and also just looking back at your journey, right? Just to see, I think it's almost like the proof of the pudding, almost like you see, wow, this is what I worked so hard for.
But I didn't know I was working hard for it. I just kept following what I was passionate about. Providing for my children, obviously, most important. But my passion kept me engaged. And I mean, I'm still as passionate about my business today as I was the very first day I started. I mean, I love when I get to teach. I asked to teach classes. I subbed a class just the other day. I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it. So, and that's where it all started. And giving people, a purpose, a place to come channel their energy in a positive way with like-minded people, building a community, and keeping people feeling safe and non-judged. Yeah. I mean, after my car accident, my mouth was wired shut for 6.5 weeks, broke my jaw. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, like The Elephant Man. My head was at 26 stitches here. I looked deformed, and people would stare at me, and I had to carry wire cutters with me. And I really learned at that point too who my friends were.
Of course.
I did. And, it set a bar for me on just really understanding people and never having judgment. And then, after that accident happened, I was so supported. So this is where I'm backtracking here, but I redirected my my plan. I was in school for marketing and business.
Okay.
And after my accident, I was like, okay, the support I received from my family and my friends, I want to give back. So then I signed up for a community support worker program at Kwantlen College because I wanted to give back. I wanted to work with people who were disabled and who needed help and stuff. So it really touched an area for me that I just felt within myself that it was necessary for me to do that. I mean, that and the business part came out
that
afterwards.
Naturally came out afterwards.
Exactly.
I think that's why you've had the longevity, right? Because it's the purpose. It's the intention, right? It's not just about making money. It's about helping people, serving the humanity, healing people, helping them with their health, their wellness, their mental wellness as well, physical wellness is all combined. So do you think it's your purpose and your passion that has kept you going this whole time? Because some might say, well, Jen she doesn't probably need to teach a class, or she doesn't really need to open up another studio, right? So it's not about the money. It's not about the success at all. It's really about the human aspect here.
Totally. And I mean, the passion is honestly what keeps me going. Like, I truly love what I do. And I mean, as I said, opening this business with my children, I'm working harder and longer than I have in so many years. And I've reinvested back into my own company with my children. It's a separate entity, and using that location for the benefit of corporate. I'm like, let's test things out. I want to try things, and I want to learn what I'm sharing with other people. Obviously, we want people to be successful, and
of course,
I'll be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
And let's try and see if it works, and if it doesn't. But also my children too, giving them a chance to be successful and accountable, and just seeing like what you put in is what you're going to get out. And it's, they clearly understand that. It's funny, we did budgeting yesterday, speaking of money, but just showing, what the bottom line is. And,
and that's the reality of running a business.
And, this is what we need to happen in order, to keep the doors open. Not saying that there's any struggle or anything.
No, but
it's just a fundamental that they need to understand, and you don't take your foot off the gas. But I mean, for me, taking my foot off the gas is when, like I'm not there connecting with the members. Unfortunately, in the position I'm in, I do have to travel a lot. So setting that example for the kids to be up and meeting people and getting
Being
to know
interactive.
them and understanding
Yeah.
their why and
Yeah.
creating these relationships with people is so essential. I mean, we are a PR business driven by a service model, right? And it's such a true fact.
Yeah. I mean, I met your daughter at the Yaletown location, and, she's very open, very welcoming, very positive, curious,
Yes.
kind. Those are the sort of the first impression that I got. And that helps when you're building a brand. Like you can't be flat.
No.
Right. And it has to be welcoming. It has to be about the people. And I think that's what's so special about Oxygen from what I've seen. I have taken classes at Oxygen in the past. It's always very inviting and warm, and people are very inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I think that's what makes it easier to go on your own healing journey. Exactly. Right. If I'm going through struggles, I need to work on my health and fitness. Maybe I want to lose weight or whatever it is. I don't want to go somewhere where I'm not going to be accepted.
Yes.
Right. And I think the average person would feel the same way, right? Realistically. You've had this long-standing career as an entrepreneur. You're going 100 miles an hour still, which is amazing. What was it like at the very beginning? You had your boot camp business. Then I think you slowly went into focusing more on Oxygen, right?
Correct.
So what were some of the stumbles and like blocks at sort of the very beginning that you had to work through? Was there self-doubt? Like what was going on through your mind?
Well, this is funny because before I had Oxygen, what had transpired is I ran into a couple, Sandy and Chuck, in the grocery store, and I had trained them with the boot camp. They said, "Oh, Jen, we really, really miss training with you and what have you." And I'm like, yeah, I miss it too. Like I miss the connection, working with people. And I said, you know what? I've got a detached garage. Let me see what I can do. So no sooner did I get home, I went out to my detached garage and I had a bunch of leftover equipment from Cardio Core and, mats and this, that, and the next thing. I ordered them in and I refurbished my detached garage into a little mini gym, or a studio, I should say. It wasn't a gym because I had all free weights and stuff like that. So I called up Sandy and Chuck and said, "Hey, why don't you come join me tomorrow at 6 a.m? I've got my garage as a studio to train." Okay, so then they told some people, and then all of a sudden I had 6 people, then I had 12 people, then I could only host 12 people at a time in my garage. So I was having to be creative. I would do the strength component, then we'd do cardio together out in my cul-de-sac in front of my house. And then the morning people would leave, and then the cardio people were doing the joint cardio would come and do the strength component. So we kind of had it layered. Then I get a knock on my door one day, and it's a bylaw officer. Yeah. So this bylaw officer is like, "I hear you're running a fitness business here on your property." I said, "Oh, yes." I said, "Let me show you." And she's smiling. She's like, "I love your energy and your enthusiasm." She's like, "But this is illegal." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I have a business license." And she's like, "No, you don't have the adequate parking, this, that, the next thing." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, goodness." So stemming back to my early years when I was a gymnast, my parents did have a gym club and they had friends who had gym clubs.
Oh, okay.
So I connected with Celestina, who had the gymnastics club in Pitt Meadows. So what posed as a threat that I would have to close down my business just became an opportunity because I called her up and I said, "Hey, Celestina, I'm sure you're not offering classes to the kiddos at, 6 a.m. I'd like to rent your space from you during this time. This is an opportunity for you to make some money when your doors aren't even open." And she was all over it. So now I have this big, beautiful gymnasium that is full of equipment that I can host many more people, and I get to use all this equipment, be creative, and all of these wonderful opportunities. And yeah, so I went from 24 to 126 people that I was training. Oh. And then my girlfriend, Samara, who I still work with Oxygen, she's our head teacher trainer, was teaching at this Oxygen yoga studio. And she's like, you got to come to one of my classes. And I'm like, sure. So I did a class. I loved it. It was infrared. It was the first infrared studio in Canada, and did the class. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then I did a couple more classes, just loved the way I felt when I left the class. And the current owners were in a partnership, and I guess they, just were at the point where they were ready to sell. So they approached me and said, Jen, are you interested in purchasing this? And I should mention, I was also flipping houses at the time. Okay. Yeah, so I was flipping houses.
Interesting. Wow.
Yes. So instead of buying another house, I bought a yoga studio.
Okay.
And people said to me, are you, actually, I should back up. So I said, I said, you need to give me a month. So I said, I want to invite all the people I'm training in the company that I had previous. It was called Train for You. It was the corniest, cheesiest name ever. But anyhow, Train for You. So I said, I need to see if my current, clientele likes this environment. So
great testing opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So I invited them to all come. They were invited to come for a month. I said, if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back for the month that you just paid. Okay, sure. So out of the 126, there was one person who just didn't like it. She didn't like the heat. Fair enough. And it was at that point that I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, you knew it was something.
I did. And then the bringing in the fitness into the yoga, combining the two together. So going back to where I said, anything in the fitness industry usually has like a 7-year shelf life. Yoga, been around for thousands of years. Fitness gives me the ability to bring in new concepts and new trends and drop them when they're not hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very innovative. It's sort of mixing what people know and what people are comfortable with, but introducing something new and exciting at the same time, right? And I think that's amazing. So you brought on you became Oxygen, you evolved, right? And so how did you evolve as Jen as you did this, like in the next phase? Because you sort of went from one thing, similar obviously, but different, right? And then now you're getting into franchising and things like that. So what was the evolution there?
I didn't plan on franchising. I didn't want to. A lot of people said, are you going to franchise? And I was like, absolutely not. Nope. I'm just going to have this my own little baby in my own community, and I am totally fine with that.
So you didn't have a vision of anything?
No, but I'll tell you how it
it
got its heartbeat. Okay. So as I said, I was a single mom with 3 kids, and I was able to support my kids, with this business, and it made me feel good. I could provide them, even extras, like we go on a family holiday once a year, and or even twice a year, and just extra things.
Have those memories with them.
Exactly, and things that I wasn't, and that living paycheck to paycheck, I had some extra, that gave me the ability to treat my kids to different things. And I mean, it's hard. Things are expensive, and so anyways, the long and the short of it is Lori, who is my first franchisee, I just finished teaching a class, and she's lying there in Shavasana, and I'm walking down the middle of the studio, and she says, I want one. I said, you want one what? She's like, I want a location. And I said, I crouched down and I said, okay. I said, let's talk. And ironically enough, she was also a single mom. She had 3 kids, twins as well.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so very serendipitous.
Very serendipitous.
And she was working a place. She was actually our linen provider and stuff. She was working for,
oh, wow.
I forget the name of the company, regardless. So she was providing us with like our paper towels and all of those things. But she loved the classes. And she went and got her own certification on her own initiative, prior to saying, I want one of these. And I said, let's talk after class. And I just said, okay, I want to share this with you. So the next day I went to her house, I picked her up. Oh, I should say she wanted to do it in Mission. I said, no. I said, I'll take care of this side of the water. You go to Langley, take care of like that side of the bridge. The Golden Ears Bridge was recently put in, so it gave an avenue for
New
people for her to get over there, efficiently. And so that's where it started, and people got wind of it, and before you know it, I think I had 9 franchises sold within 6 months. And I actually had to like say no because I didn't have the infrastructure and the support systems in place to support the franchisees. I mean, I could have kept selling franchises, over and over again, but supporting them and doing it properly.
You need the system and the flow and the processes.
Exactly. And for my sanity too, right? Because I was trying to be the cook, the bottle washer, everything. And really, I think that's essential for any business to understand all the fundamentals of the business so you can speak to it, but not necessarily do it. I mean, in the beginning, I remember I budgeted for this one location. It was in Abbotsford, and I undercut big time. So anything that I was capable of doing, I mean, laying the floors, painting the walls, yourself. I was doing it. Yes, because I had to, because I gave a budget that I
had to stick to.
I was very off, but either way, all of that was an opportunity to learn and just grow from it. Now I know how to lay those floors too.
I mean, that shows a lot of integrity, right, on your part, that you don't want to sell something just for the sake of selling it, right? And it's all about bringing them into the brand, into the ecosystem. It's almost like a family in a way, right? You want to learn how to do it the right way, or the way that really shows the true values of what Oxygen is, right? So where do you see Oxygen going from here? I know you mentioned a location maybe in Europe upcoming. Like,
yes.
What is your vision going forward?
Honestly, I said this about a year ago. I said 500 locations. I said within 3 years. So that's just a number that I've set as a benchmark. Continuing to grow the location. We're layering the business. We have clothing now. We've got merchandise. We've got different assets to bring into the business, but truly continuing to do what I'm doing. I feel very grateful that one of my goals is to travel. So I get to, get the best of both worlds. I get to travel. I get to be a part of these brand new openings, these new experiences. And I am also getting to see the world. And I pinch myself because, as I said, I just started off in 2012 with a vision of one location in Maple Ridge, and never thinking about, growing this business in order to, be this huge, mecca fitness business, globally.
It's a global footprint.
Yes. And I really, I haven't lost my heart and soul and like true essence of what it takes in order to make it work. And I think that's something that is really important. And I love what I do. I mean, our mission statement is, I love my life.
I love my life. Yeah.
And, I really do. I feel blessed. And I'm blessed to have so many people around me who have trusted in this and the journey. And I'm also honored to have so many people a part of making these collective decisions on, what is going to be best for the company development, the people that we're serving, the people who are investing. And I'm super excited. This on the 13th, we have our Christmas party, and it's being hosted at the Fairmont Waterfront.
Sounds amazing.
And I remember it was like, I was just talking about it. Our first Christmas party we did it was called Ma's and Me's. I don't know if you've
I've
ever
never
heard.
even heard of it.
Okay, it's in Poco.
Okay.
It's like an improv theater.
Okay.
And I think there was all of maybe 19 of us there. And
Wow.
and then here we are hosting at the Fairmont waterfront, and we have over 500 people coming,
That's beautiful.
from all over. And I'm truly like grateful.
That's a huge moment, just to
Right?
even have everyone in the same room to
I
see
know.
that. It just shows all the sweat equity and the time, the energy, the tears, the struggles, the joy, the happiness, right? It's literally right in front of you. It's like you brought all these people together on this
Yeah.
mission, which is it's just simply amazing. Do you think that you attract a lot of these people or opportunities? Like, is there some sort of manifestation that's involved in this? Like, what would you say that you're putting out an energy and receiving it back?
I've always had the mandate, do to one as you wish unto yourself. Right? So I treat people the way I want to be treated. And I think that's really important. And I think, even sometimes like in business, I think in the past, I used to tiptoe around on eggshells because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. So you don't actually get to the heart and, the message that you want to relay. Whereas I believe now I share my thoughts and my feelings, and I'm very open and honest, and I invite conversation if somebody has a difference of opinion or, if they feel differently.
Of course.
And I just feel that open, respectful communication has been something that has been received well. And the whole, yes, I mean, I am a happy person. I choose to be happy. I choose to look for solutions as opposed to focusing on what the problem is. So maybe some of that mindset. And I am a visionary. I have visions, but I allow other people to share their visions with me, and it becomes something that is collaborative. And I believe, working with people rather than against people is maybe where the success has been attributed from.
Mm-hmm. Looking back on all these years, you've put in so much time, energy. You've focused on your children, your business. Are there different things you would prioritize now in your life for you as an individual? What does Jen want going forward? She has a wonderful business. She has purpose. She's making an impact. Your children are like self-sufficient. They're older, right? So, what does life look for you now beyond where we are now?
I think that's funny that you asked me that, because I think before, as I said, my first and foremost was being able to support my children, then working the business. Well, between those two, I don't think I gave myself a lot of time to have a relationship. So I believe I need to create that space for me to have a healthy, happy, balanced relationship, because I have my children are independent. I have to, create dates with them now.
Yeah,
I
get
need
in their calendars.
maybe I need them more than they need me now. Which, I mean, I'm just saying that, but honestly, yes, I think creating and giving myself the time and space to have a relationship is that little piece that I don't think I ever really gave myself a proper opportunity for. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I mean, I think as we all gracefully age, we learn our value, we learn our voice, we learn what we want, what serves us. And I think that really helps in attracting the right partner, right? Because sometimes we're not always ready for it, or they might not be ready for us.
Correct.
So I think sometimes you end up attracting that person at the right time where, I believe in that. I'm very much into the woohoo thinking of it all.
Yes,
But
yes.
I think there's a part where when you are feeling a certain way, your partner is a reflection of you.
I agree.
So at that stage before you had to learn that lesson or evolve as a person, and end certain things in your life, but it's all for yourself to gain in the future, right? And so, yeah, I think that's really wonderful. I mean, I hope that you find someone. I mean, I'm sure there's endless amount of people that would take the opportunity, honestly, because you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you're kind, and I think, it's just a matter of time. And I'm wishing you all the love and happiness. You deserve all of it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think all women do. I think they need to take a chance for themselves to find love and companionship. And, we don't have to be by ourselves, whether that's romance or friendship, and also community.
I
think
agree.
it's really important. I think something like oxygen is beneficial for someone listening to this as well. And I was talking to Nisha before you came, and she is a community for women as well. And it's through a platform, but knowing that you're not alone, I think it really helps an individual get through the hard times.
I agree. And there's been so many times that people have said, "Why are you single?" And it's funny because when I say them, because I don't think I've given enough time to have a healthy, happy relationship. So,
it does take time.
It does take time.
It takes effort, time.
Yes.
You have to,
and you have to.
You got to actually give
yourself the space, right?
Exactly. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. Bethany Frankel, she talks a lot about this. I don't know if you've seen some of her posts, but it sort of reminds me of her a little bit, because I feel like she's very successful. And, she wants to find a partner and be in a relationship. But there's obviously like a certain alignment that you want to have with someone. So it's kind of interesting, like a lot of women are in the same sort of area in life, right? Sometimes we have no choice. Sometimes, our kids have left or whatever the story is, right? But I think community and being around people is really important. So I hope that you find that for yourself, like in terms of a relationship. It's really excited. Keep us posted.
I will, but I'm old school. I'm old school, so I don't want to go on
apps.
No, and I don't know. I still go to the bank teller. Okay.
No, but but again, I think you value face to face.
Yes, and, I do.
I also I'm an old soul myself. So when I was single, it was like, I'm never going to find anybody that I want or who shares the same values with me. Like I kept deleting like apps and stuff like every week. And then I sort of did manifest that person.
Yeah.
So, and we have similar values and things like that. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy. We're both high functioning. We're both type A. But our vision, like what you said before, it's in sync.
Yeah.
Right. And we're both working towards the same or similar things. And then support our in our own goals as well.
Of course.
Which I feel like is so important.
Yeah.
Right. There's still this sense of being an individual as well.
For sure.
And we all have our dreams and ambitions. I would love to spend all day talking to you, honestly. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out what the next thing is. Is it a documentary? What kind of series would I like to do? And so I think just sitting here talking has really inspired me. I'd love to ask you a little bit about one last question about your mantra, that I love my life. Like, how did that start, and how did it sort of catch on, and why is it important? Okay.
So it started because I am just that person who is, as some would say, corny. So I wanted to say at the end of class, I love my life. I wanted people to celebrate the fact that they took, 45 minutes or an hour for themselves to come to their mats, to do something kind for themselves, to meet, people who are like-minded, to take a break, as a mom. And as I remember, my boot camp was my outlet, my channel, my exercise, right? So it's just a positive way to have an outlet, whether it's you're stressed or you're feeling that you just need a break, or for whatever reason it was basically an opportunity to celebrate you taking time for yourself. Because I think a lot of the times we don't put ourselves first. But when we actually give ourselves the time to put ourselves first, we are so much better to everybody else around us. So that was just to celebrate, like, I love my life, making the heart the shape of the hands. And I mean, it was like pulling teeth at first to get me to get people to say it.
Yeah.
And, part of, that mantra is now like people yell it and they celebrate it.
They feel it.
They do. And it is. And that's what it translated to, was really just about taking the time for you. And it's not being selfish to take the time for you. It's taking the time to say, I love my life. I care about my health. I care about my wellness. I care about my breaks and my peace of mind.
Thank you for that wisdom. It's really powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen, for taking the time. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your wisdom, your experience, and your openness.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.